This is Yair Davidiy speaking to you from the land of Israel. We are continuing a brief explanation of why we identify France primarily with the tribe of Reuben and Sweden with the tribe of Gad. In our previous talk we went through the clans of Reuben and the clans of Gad, and we showed how these names reappear as tribal elements, as peoples who settled France, the area of what is now France, and Sweden, and other places in Scandinavia. We showed how these names are repeated and found amongst the peoples who historically settled in those areas. And now we are going to go through a few of the characteristics of the peoples in question and show how they relate to the tribal characteristics that we've spoken of. Now France, we identify with Reuben, as we explained historically, and because of the clans of Reuben were repeated amongst those peoples who settled in France. The symbol of Reuben was a mandrake. The mandrake is a flower similar to a lily, and the mandrakes were the symbol of Reuben, and it's similar to a lily, and it's similar to the fleur de lis, the flower which is the symbol or the traditional symbol in the past of France. There's one point. Mandrakes were found by Reuben. It says that Reuben went out in the fields and he found mandrakes and he brought them to his mother. And mandrakes are said to have aphrodisiacal properties, and also they're conducive to fertility, or that is what it was believed. And so Reuben is here associated with such interests. We also hear that Reuben behaved inappropriately with the concubine Bilhah of his father. Now, whether this has to be taken literally, as it seems, or not, it does suggest that he was that way inclined, one could say, perhaps more than others. And so too the French are known, or they have the reputation of being romantic, of Paris is called the city of love, of being interested in romance and sexual affairs and so on, even though statistically they are not much worse, or in some cases not as bad as neighbouring European countries. They're still not as good as should be expected. Reuben and popular Jewish symbolism, such as is found in many synagogues, incidentally a lot of synagogues have the symbols of the tribes. That is the main symbol used in Jewish synagogues, are the symbols of the tribes. You go into a synagogue and often there are no decorations whatsoever, no symbols whatsoever, but sometimes there are. And the symbol that is most commonly used are the symbols of the 12 tribes of Israel. Concerning Reuben, for some reason, Reuben is often represented by a rising sun. So this rising sun is reminiscent perhaps of the ancient sun cult, the worship of the sun that prevailed amongst some of the peoples who settled in France. So Louis XIV, the greatest ruler of France, or one of the greatest rulers of France in history, a very important person, Louis XIV, he was known as the Sun King. We also know that the people who dwelt in France before the Franks came, that is the Celtic peoples, were known as Galatai and as Gallia, and as Galli to the Romans. Galli also means a cock, and a cock, a rooster. A rooster is associated with the rising sun. And the figure, the depiction of a rooster became a French symbol. Incidentally, a cock is also associated with romance in some way, with sexual activity. In English, the very name cock has connotations in that direction. In Greek writings, the Gauls, ancient settlers, inhabitants of France, who came to comprise the overwhelming majority of the French population, was known as Galatei, and Galatay was sometimes written, or even apparently pronounced as Galaday. And Galaday is another way of pronouncing, and we find in the Syrian writings, the name Gilead. Not only that, in modern-day French and French translations of the Bible, the word Gilead is sometimes given as Galaday. So Galatay, in effect, is the same as the word Gilead, and Gilead was the name of a region to the east of the Jordan River, in which the clans and the tribes of Reuben and Gad settled, as well as the half-tribe of Manasseh. So here we find the people who settled in France even named after the region where Reuben and Gad had come from. And we also noted in our previous talk how not only Reuben but also elements from Gad, from the Gothic people, settled in the south of France, whereas Reuben was more predominant in the north. The French at one stage ruled over Syria in recent times, and from 1920 to 1928 they always had an interest in that area, and also in Lebanon. And these regions historically were part of the tribal territory of Reuben. We went through the names of Reuben and the names of his sons, showing how they were repeated in ethnic groups who settled in France. Now the meanings of these names also reflect on the character of France. In the name, that is the meaning of these names in Hebrew. Reuben itself means see a son. It connotes see a son, see a man. In other words, see a son. It connotes increase of plenitude. The sons of Reuben, Hanok, the name Hanok means inauguration, education. Phalo means distinction. Hetson means dweller of the courtyard. And Kami means a vineyard. It's associated with Kerem, a vineyard. And these names are important in French culture and French history. The French always tended to emphasize high-quality education requirements of the word Hanok, and also ceremony, which also is connected with Hanok. They also prefer quality to quantity. Palu, that is, connotes distinction, exemplariness. The French like style, they like design. The French are known for having the best. That is also a quality of the firstborn. Reuben was the firstborn, is often referred to as the firstborn in the Bible. Reuben the firstborn is repeated as if this is important. And so this too is a quality of the French. The French have the best. They might not make the most. They might not sell the most, but they like having the best perfume, the best wine, the best clothes. French are also famous for being both aristocrats and peasants. That is, the French aristocrats and the French peasants are famous for being what they are, for being typically what they are, more than other people from other countries are. And these are both the connotations of aristocracy and of peasantry, of ownership of small portions of land, are connoted in the name Hetson, meaning courtyard. We have the name Kami, which means my vineyard. In France historically has always been known as having the best wines and producing a good quantity of wine and having a taste, a thirst for wine. Often the French people often drink large quantities of wine at meals, and they don't get drunk because of it. Usually they know how to hold their liquor, and they're healthy, quite healthy because of it, or through it. And they're famous for this. This is an aspect of the French culture. It is reflected in the name Kami, meaning vineyard. The Nation Times, France was known as Zarephath in Hebrew, Zarephath. The name is found in the book of Obadiah 120, Zarephath, it reflects the name of France. We also find the Obadiah says the captivity of this coast of the children of Israel that possess that of the Canaanites even unto Zarephath, and the captivity of Jerusalem, which is in Sepharad, shall possess the cities of the south. And the commentators on this, especially Rashi, say this verse is referring to the lost 10 tribes of Israel who settled in the region of Zarephath, which is otherwise known as Francia, as France in other words. The other commentators are Barbanel and so on. They expand on this message. The lost 10 tribes were to be found in France, or France was one of the major areas in which the lost 10 tribes were to be found. We find this name Zarephath in the Bible, find it in the Bible codes, in the book of Numbers. The book of Numbers 26:5, we find it at intervals of 17. In the section where the Bible speaks about the sons of Reuben, it speaks about the sons of Reuben. It speaks of the sons of Reuben and the firstborn son of Reuben, the firstborn son of Israel, and the sons of Reuben. And he goes on and he gives their families. And at intervals of 17 letters in this passage we find the name Zarephath. And for those who know Hebrew, or those who are acquainted with this method of looking at the Bible, of finding answers to questions, this find is very impressive. It is very convincing, because statistically it is almost impossible to believe that such a finding could be by chance. That the name Zarephath could be there, inserted right, interposed over the names of the sons of Reuben. So too for Gad and the Goss in Sweden, we have similar results. We should go into them at another time in more depth. But the strongest proof concerning Sweden was that associated with the names of clans and of Gad himself. The name Gad is pronounced as Goth in some cases, and the two names are interchangeable, and the sons of Gad became important clans and groupings that settled in Sweden and in Scandinavia. And this is a very strong evidence, as we showed in our talk on the subject. May the Lord God of Israel bless you. Thank you.